Hey everyone, it's Ivan, kitbadger.com, out here with my course loadout from my 2022 Modern Minuteman class with AMTAC shooting. We'll go ahead and start kind of with the mundane clothes, stuff like that. Down there, Goldendale, Washington, fortunately had pretty good weather, late May, basically lows mid-40s, highs high 60s, low 70s. It did rain a little bit towards the end of, I guess, day one, but wasn't a big deal. Things were wet though, especially that next morning. Brought everything in one of these CC12s by Prometheus Design Works, cargo container 12, takes a 12-gallon tote. And as far as footwear, I ended up wearing these. These are the Salomon Speed Assault 2, I believe, by US Elite. They're nice, they're really lightweight. They're close, I guess, in weight to like my minimalist shoes that I'm usually wearing, like limbs, things like that. They definitely do have cushion and a drop and things like that. One thing I will say is these are super aggressive, which is good if you're in, well, honestly, most conditions, except when you're cutting across like grassy fields and stuff, as I found out during the competition. This stuff's so aggressive, and if you look, it sticks out and it's like biased forward on the sides. So you would go and it would actually shorten your step, like it would shorten your gait as you'd go through the grass, because it'd be like, and it would like literally grab a hold of, yeah, all the grass and weeds and stuff, which was kind of weird, but scrambling up like dirt roads, stuff like that, did a pretty good job and nice and lightweight. As far as clothes, I pretty much wore the same thing for like 2+ days straight because I was down there for our course. With that, underwear get important. If you're going to be wearing the same ones, which I was. These right here are by Tactical Distributors. They're merino base layer, and one of the many like awesome properties with merino is like antimicrobial, things like that, so they don't end up just stinking and getting super gross. And then socks, I did actually change both days, especially before the race. These are also merino. These are by 511. And then pants, I was wearing these guys right here, Prometheus Design Works. I want to say these are the Odyssey something or other, Odyssey being like the cut. Usually I'll wear these, which are the Raider pants, just cut a little different. The Odyssey have these cargo pockets, which were actually really handy for what we were doing as far as the competition side, because there were certain things that I didn't want to have to get in and out of my pack or necessarily out of the rig I was wearing. So like my map, for example, I would just open this guy up, shove my map down in there, and then same with up front, in front of this pocket right here, sized pretty much perfectly for a phone. And so I was using my phone as a GPS for some of the stuff, and so I'd drop it down there, easy access right there, not in the way of anything else. Did a good job for it, and lightweight too, which was nice, especially when it started getting really hot. As far as t-shirts, pretty much just wore a couple t-shirts. I think day of the competition wore like Sons of Liberty Gunworks one, and then also I ended up wearing basically my little down hoodie from Prometheus Design Works, their Stratus down hoodie, and I wore it like in the morning when it was kind of cool. And then day one when we were shooting, the range is like lava rock, and so I just laid it out. Not that that down jacket had like a ton of padding because it compresses, but it was nice in the sense that I wasn't just laying straight on top of lava rock. And then in addition to that, when we ended up actually going out for our like competition side of it, the Modern Minuteman, I ended up actually stuffing that down jacket into my backpack, which we'll jump into in a minute, because one, it's down, it's compressible, and if I need a warming layer, it does a good job. I want to say it's treated with DWR, and it has a hood, so you can get pretty comfortable and fairly warm if you need to be. For belt, ended up wearing this right here by, I think it is the Agonic. Basically cut it to size. This is about the size I was wearing it at. And there's this backer inside here, like carbon fiber. So there's plenty of movement and some stretch to it. but then you can move this to wherever you actually like need to hang something off of, like a pistol. So by way of example, I had this right here, outside the waistband holster by Blackpoint Tactical, this guy right here, and then had my space gun. Glock 19 got sent out from shooting surplus with the Afterburner and some other clever name for their barrel and comp from Radian, X400 Vampire, and then this new Holosun with the primary arms ACSS reticle. And yeah, had some cool work done to this pistol, but did a pretty good job for me, and yeah, stayed nice and secure. As far as iPro goes, continue to wear these guys, Smith, Director Elite, ballistic lenses, prescription. They're pretty beat up. I really need to replace them, but I haven't yet, so continue to wear those. And then I will say my gear kind of deviated a little bit from like the core modern Minuteman, in that you basically have a pack with useful gear, to include a broken down carbine or something that can fold and get stored inside said pack. And all your gear needs to weigh basically ideally 25 to 30 pounds to include the rifle in the pack and stuff like that, with ammo, water, like usable things. Idea being you have your pack on with your carbine inside of it, and then you have your pistol concealed, and you can be out in the backcountry or you can be downtown somewhere, doesn't really matter. You have all your tools with you. And yeah, like modern Minuteman. I will say I deviated from that a little bit because I'm in the business of testing gear, and it was a good opportunity to shake out some stuff. But with respect to my pack, I ended up using this. I've reviewed it before. It is the Tarahumara pack by Hill People Gear. And I didn't actually keep anything in these outside pockets, basically kept it strapped. Here's my map, kept it in my cargo pocket. And then again, useful things. So down here at the bottom is the Prometheus Design Works TPB, Technical Picnic Blanket, I believe. Basically, it's kind of like a waterproof material on one side, or water resistant. And then the other side of it is a like Polar Tech fleece. So nice and warm, and at the same time won't get wet. So if I needed to hunker down somewhere for whatever reason, got injured or something, I could stay warm and dry, which pretty clutch. And then inside here, I had that Stratus down hoodie that was shoved in here, but apparently it did not make it into my vehicle when I came out to film. And water. Water's pretty important. This right here is one of the water bottles from Prometheus Design Works. It is not what I intended on bringing. It is not very light. It's actually like double-walled insulated, which is cool, but you pay for it in weight. And I feel like I have a million Nalgene bottles. I'm pretty sure my boys, I don't know, they probably lost them at school or something like that. But had that, so 1 liter of water there. And then I had this full, which 3 liters with this. So significant weight. In the middle of the course, I ended up pounding one of these full of, I think like 2 Propel packets or something like that. I didn't really break into the other 3 liters until after I had finished, but had that stuff in there. And then also had this, pretty sure I probably reviewed it, Helium 2, I believe it is, little compressible like rain layer from Outdoor Research, just in case. And then alcohol pads, some toilet paper, did not need it. 550 cord. This, which I usually keep in packs, at some fat wood. It actually came in handy for one of the challenges we came to. And then lastly, this guy right here, which is inside here, basically a little stove and then nesting inside of it, the Stanley pot. So if I needed to, I could basically get water or make water, boil it, purify it, and then there's some cups that nest inside there as well. And I think that is pretty much it for my pack. So yeah, I'll show you my chest rig I was running. This right here is the chest rig setup I was using during that course, namely during the competition. And kind of at the heart of it is the Spiritus Systems Thing 2, maybe? Thing 1? I don't know. Whichever one has the radio pouches on the sides. And it did a good job. So we were using comms. So I had my radio in there, it's connected up, and pushed the talk, and then ran it through my OpsCore amp. So comms were right there, and my ear pro, which kind of cut both ways. Once you start exerting yourself, you're definitely like sweating into those gel cups on this ear pro, but at the same time, your comms is always with you, and as soon as you get up to like a station, you don't have to fumble for ear pro or anything like that. It's already there. So it worked out pretty good. Over on the side of this thing was the Spiritus Systems JSTA Pouch. Don't remember what that acronym stands for. Don't think I ever knew. But I basically ran 2 pistol mags in here and did my reloads out of that when I needed them. Unfortunately, I needed them. My pistol work was not very good. Shooting another strong side, gassed out, crushed me. And then inside here, carried a little med kit, basically pulled it out of another med kit, threw it in there just so I had it. And then up front, you can obviously run anything like any of the microfight rigs. This right here is the Ammo Hub A1 by F9 Gear. I have a shingle or 3-cell insert for 5.56 mags. Had that in there, and then had the S.A.C.K sub-abdominal carry kit by Spiritus Systems. Some more med stuff in there to include a tourniquet, even though I had one on my person. And then coming over to this side, little small GP pouch, I want to say, by Spiritus. And inside here, protractor, map pin, and then inside here, even though I didn't need it, rangefinder. Used it some the day before when we were, or day one, I guess, when you're shooting. And then usually carry this AMTAC Minuteman blade, other strong side on my belt line, but I ended up throwing it up here on this rig. And yeah, it did a pretty good job, like just carrying and help spreading out the load. I will say having this pouch over here, especially with kind of how and where this rode, kind of interfered a little bit with my holster. Probably, knowing what I know now, haven't used it, I would have gone ahead and just pulled this off, and then moved this one over to here. So kept my holster clear on my left side because shooting another strong side, and just moved that over here and figured out a way. Probably just carried the extra spare pistol mags just on my belt line, something along those lines. Probably had enough med gear in here that didn't need that redundancy, but if we had some sort of medical station, I want to make sure I had plenty of gear for it, so that's what I brought. And last but not least, my long gun. So this was not in pieces in my pack, in part because I was wearing that chest rig and the pack I had wouldn't really fit it without it just sticking out and then turn into, like, I don't know, a Lego project trying to get this thing back together when I got to stations. I will say for what we were doing, probably a little bit of an overkill, but I didn't really know what to expect going into it. Day one, shot great. Ended up shooting this out to, I think, like 650 yards, maybe 700, and it was cool. This is the Sons of Liberty Gunworks. I ended up going and building with those guys in San Antonio. 16-inch barrel on here. Have the ATACR 1:8 by Night Force in this Unity mount. I will say the mount lends itself a lot more to just kind of heads up shooting because of how high it is. And we weren't doing a lot of that, but made it work. The other thing that I ran into that is a very real thing is shooting other strong side. Like, red dot, or like by way of example, throw this thing on 1 power and bring it up. Pretty easy. Like, I have a pretty easy time with it. Once crank this thing up to 8 magnification, because you're shooting at distance, that eye box gets really small and it gets really difficult. For me anyway, shooting my non-dominant eye. And yeah, kind of ate my lunch during the competition some. Dropped more rounds than I would have liked, but it happened. Also on here, have the Stoner rifle grip with Rev firearms. And then same with this prototype vertical foregrip. I was running some offset irons in case we needed that. And then offset light, Unity button bipod, which was actually really nice during day one when you're shooting like prone. Did not use it during the competition. And then also this can right here, which is the Mars can by, spacing on it, B&T. Thank you. But overall, this gun did a good job. Probably a little heavier than what I needed. Probably could have got away with the 11.5 inch that I built, but I wasn't sure what we were going to be doing, and yeah, bring enough gun, which I did. This sling right here, didn't do a lot of shooting with it, but it was pretty comfortable to carry, in part just how wide it is and the material. It's by Arbor Arms. I will say the shooting was, it was cool. Day one, you just got to kind of stretch guns out, see how far you can get them. And then day two, the competition, I was like, all right, let's see what we get. And there was some rifle shooting, not a ton. And then pistol shooting, probably more pistol shooting than rifle shooting. And the first stage crushed me because I was totally gassed out. Second stage actually did pretty good, even though I was shooting another strong hand. But yeah, that's it for my long gun. Big picture, what did good, what did bad? Honestly, most everything did a really good job, worked as intended. One thing I was surprised with was the Speed Assault 2. They really, really slow you down, actually going through like high grass, just grabbing, with how aggressive and angled forward these lugs are, which was kind of surprising. I'll end up putting in more time though and see how they do in other environments. As far as the rest of this stuff, it pretty much all performed. Where something didn't perform, like this pistol, it was me. Like totally gassed out in the first pistol stage and dropping all kinds of rounds, shooting another strong side. It happened. Same, I was gassed out shooting the rifle too, ended up dropping rounds. And fighting to try and kind of find that eye box. Day one was a lot easier in the prone behind that on a bipod. And then day two, hopped over basically onto this tank trap and yeah, trying to get hits at distance. It was difficult. As far as all the rest of the gear, if anything, I would probably just pare it down some. The pack with gun wanted to weigh somewhere between 25 and 30 pounds. I want to say basically this rig, like loaded out, and my pack weighed 25 pounds minus my gun, which honestly probably close to about 10 pounds. So I was probably over that threshold. Probably should have cut some weight. Could have carried probably at least 1 liter less of water, Nalgene bottle instead of a metal bottle, and little things here and there. But overall, everything definitely performed for me. I think moving forward, doing it again in the future, I would probably stick more to like Bill's concept of the modern Minuteman, as far as like carrying a concealed pistol, like you usually would, and then carrying everything inside of a pack. So yeah, you can pretty much go anywhere. Go ride the bus or go hike around in the backcountry and deal with whatever you need to deal with because you have all your tools on you. But everything did a pretty solid job overall, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, that wraps up my course loadout. And if you appreciate my content and want to support it, greatly appreciate it. One of the ways is just liking and sharing videos or going over to Patreon. Little as $1 a month, you can help support the content I create and get early access to videos as well as our Discord. So if you have questions for me, happy to answer them over there. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.